Hi guys, welcome back to my travel corner, and today is another one of those Battle of the Buses episodes where I pick buses in between two specific locations and then take two from each place and then tell you which one is my favourite of the two. But this time we are waiting on Route 22 because we do Route 22. There's one here in Havant that goes to the Warren. That's what the 23 used to do. And then we've got one deep in the heart of Cosham, and that takes you around between Farlington and Highbury. And those will be the ones that we be looking at. So I'm just waiting for the 22 that goes to Warren Park, and then we'll go around there and just have a bit of an explore. And with that, I can now say that because there's only two buses and I want to make these as long as I possibly can, try and aim for 20 minutes if I can, I'm going to do little extra bits in random places so I can then do, for example, something in the Warren, do something here and then do something in Cosham. But the 22 is just pulled up and just trying to traverse my way around the dog. So 22 is just pulled up and I'm going to hop on very shortly. But drop me back in a bit and I'll then just explain a bit more as to what I'm going to do. See you in a bit, guys. Welcome back, guys. Just join me now at the back of the 22 and I'm just making my way to Warren Park. And as much as I'm not too keen on the place because it's really painful memories, I'm willing to put my dislike of the place to the side, so then you get to see what this bus does, this 22 specifically, this 22 does, and what the other one does as well. There's another bus I want to show you as well, now that I come to think about it, and that is there used to be another Route 22 that served around the Havant area. Didn't call it Havant, and it just went around Wesley through Lee Park, and then it went in a different way to Portsmouth. And you might have seen it before, but that would be the 19. Because it did exactly the same as, well, almost exactly the same as what the old Route 22 used to do. And that sort of thing really does spark back memories. One thing I do want to show you though, when we get there, also, as in the last video where I did the bit around Portsmouth celebrating 100 years, and I mentioned that both Lee Park and Warren Park were both mainly built by Portsmouth and not Havant. Well, we've got some shutdown shops which we're coming up to. And if you have a look on the top, or over there, it says there's a couple of to let signs by Portsmouth City Council. So I think I'm going to have to show you that. Oh, I'm going to have to show you that again as I make my way back, because you might not have seen it, but as I mentioned, there's a couple of signs, a couple of to let signs on that particular shop where it said Portsmouth City Council, and that further proves in my mind that Lee Park was mainly built by Portsmouth and not Havant. But join me back in a bit and I will be at the Warren, take you around a few areas particularly the ones that I remember from when I was growing up. And let's see what changed in the last 25 years. So I first moved into the Warren in January 2001 and then moved out again in July 2004. And this would be the perfect time, I find, to then just go through some of the familiar areas of the estate. See you in a bit, guys. Welcome back, guys. You've just joined me outside Badgley Gardens, and I'm stood right outside one of the places where I lived when I was at the Warren. Now, interestingly enough, this place, when I was living here, this came under Havant Borough Council, but now I'm looking up at the sign and it comes under Portsmouth City Council. So this part, as I say, used to come under Havant, but now it comes under Portsmouth. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to get my dad to watch this because this is something rather important for him to see. Because if I bring you up a bit closer, it'd be easier for you to see that it now comes under Portsmouth. But there's another one that I want to show you as well, because there's another block of masonettes just not too far from where I'm stood at the moment, and that also came under Havant. Well, now it's Portsmouth, comes under Portsmouth. It's really rather interesting, and it's this is Stralden Court that I'm coming up to, and again, if I should tilt the camera, I shall show you that this too comes under Portsmouth. I wonder when it changed hands. And I've just come through here. The preschool opened up. That used to be a Shore Start Centre. I used to remember going past it when I was a lot younger. And this convenience store that I'm just about to take you up towards, that was the NSS news agents. And there's another interesting discovery. So if 36 to 56 Badgley Gardens now comes under Portsmouth, this one will come under Portsmouth as well. But still we get the rubbish coming in, that we still get the recycle lorries coming in from Havant. Just before we go anywhere though, I just want to show you something else, because this church that I'm stood next to, I'm just walking around, I remember many years ago when I stood out there and graffitied on that, I'd barked and engraved my name into one of the bricks. I wonder actually if that's still there. I don't think it is. But I only did it once. And there we are. But this is where I went to a youth club. This very building right here is where I went to a youth club. Very interesting, as even though I'm plagued with bad memories as well because of all the times I used to get bullied all while I was here, but it's just as nice to look back over what you have got, and then you get to see that all come to light. Now there's one more place I do want to take you to, which I'm going to walk that bit, because I now worked out that Badgley Gardens now comes under Portsmouth, because you've seen it when I was stood at 36 to 56, and then there's 18 to 34. It's all the same with 14 to 34. That bit comes under Portsmouth as well. But join me back in a bit, because I'm going to take you over to the other one, the Horstead Green, to see what's happened to that. Does that come under Havant, or does that now come under Portsmouth as well? See you in a bit, guys. Welcome back, guys. You've just joined me now outside Horstead Green, specifically the other block of masonettes I moved to in 2003, and I can only assume that this one still comes under Havant. It's interesting, actually. The Warren has a bit of a divide. We have one area that comes under Portsmouth, and then we have another area that comes under Havant. So I'm just going to quickly go over. I think actually I'm going to have to make a day of coming back to the Warren, not that I'm particularly excited about it, but I would have to come back to the Warren to see which parts specifically come under Portsmouth and which parts specifically come under Havant. But it just comes to show also that if you live in either Lee Park or Warren Park, specifically Warren Park, and you end up with two lots of council tax, yeah, you'll understand why, because part of it now comes under Portsmouth, that Badgley Gardens, and there's some other buildings as well that come under Portsmouth. The Stroughton Court shops, they're now part of Portsmouth, so they now come under Portsmouth, and some other bits as well. But this bit, I can only assume, still comes under Havant. I can only assume this bit still comes under Havant. It's a great divide of such an estate, as I'd like to put that out. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to see what other buildings come under Portsmouth and which ones remain firmly in, or should I say, which ones remain firmly under Havant. So drop me back in a bit as I jump on another 22, and I'll take you to Park Parade, which I know, based on the last video I did of this stuff, comes under Portsmouth. See you in a bit, guys. Welcome back, guys. I'm now at the back of another 22, taking away just back around Warren Park, and just wanted to clear a few things up while I'm here. So I've just been on the phone to my dad, because we lived around this area, but I had for 3.5 years, and I mentioned when that was. But the buildings, so the buildings all come under Portsmouth City Council, because it's then a callback to Portsmouth buying out Lee Park in 1944, and then extending out to the Warren between 1966 and 1970. For more information on that, have a look at my other video, have a look at my last video that talks about that. And then again with that, in the bag. The mainland where all of this place comes under, it all comes under Havant, because this place and Lee Park are in the Havant ticket zone, which makes perfect sense. If it was fully Portsmouth, it would come under Portsmouth, and the ticket zone of Havant would be absolutely tiny, because then it would only include Havant, obviously, Bedhampton and Orpington. But I hope that clears things up. Certainly clears things up for me. But of course, because I didn't see any Portsmouth signs because I didn't see any Portsmouth logos on any of the signs, well, my younger self wouldn't have thought about that. I'd only been 11 or 12 since I came in. I would have been 11 when I moved into Baddesley Gardens. Yeah, I would have been at the, so I think, yeah, I would have been at Portsmouth, so I would have been here, it would have been 11 since I came here. Sorry, I've just lost the thought then. But they're now starting to show Portsmouth signs. But because I didn't see any Portsmouth logos on any of the signs, I assumed they all came under Havant. But then quickly realised that what I mentioned in the last video, that Portsmouth bought out Lee Park in 1944 and still kept it in the land of Havant. So when it comes to something like council tax, and I said, my dad said this to me as well, so when it comes to something like council tax, the area comes under Havant, but when it comes to landlords, it then comes under Portsmouth. Another example of how this comes to be is somewhere like Weacock Farm. Not often I mention Weacock Farm in my videos, but yeah, Weacock Farm comes under the Havant 22 Borough Council. So when it comes to the council tax, that comes under Havant, but then when it comes to the landlord, when it comes to the landlords, it then comes under Portsmouth. There was a Shore Start Centre right by where the preschool of St Clair's is now. I remember going in there. So anyway, join me back in a bit and I'll take you into Lee Park, because then what I'll do is I'll get back off the parkway and then I'll hop on a 19 and then do something there, because I wanted to talk about something on that as well. See you in a bit, guys. Welcome back, guys. You've just joined me now back at Park Parade, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to nip over. I'm actually going to stay on this side of the road, because the one thing that I found out also is that the 19, where it goes around Wesley and then comes back on itself, is another one of those where if you're on, you're on. And yeah, I just think in this case it'd be much easier if I get on this side of the road rather than crossing the road and having to wait a bit longer, because I would end up having to wait about 10 minutes longer if I do that. So the next 19 is at 11:30, and then I'll just end up going back on myself, and then we'll be able to then just see what that used to do, because we used to have another Route 22, as I mentioned earlier, and that used to do what the 19 did around this area, and that's exactly what I plan to do with that bit there. Draw me back in a bit as I get on the 19 and just explore the area, and then hopefully tie in with the other 22. Doing this will take a bit longer, and I can then say I can be successful in getting a long video out of it. See you in a bit, and I'll be on the back of a 19. Welcome back, guys. You've just joined me now at the front of a 19, and we're just making our way around Wesley. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, well, why are you on a 19 if it's nothing to do with what you're doing in the video with the Battle of the Buses? And that is because there used to be another Route 22 that did what this bus does now. Didn't call it Havant either, but neither does this one. But it used to go around Wesley, and then it went down. It goes towards Wakeford's Way. It used to then go all around Wesley and then just come back on itself. It took a different approach to do. It took a different approach as it went to Portsmouth, mind you, but it was
to Wesley.
Wait for Rick Jackson to finish. But we're just going past Littleton Grove, and this road.
Next stop, Park Parade.
Where are you going? This road was where the 39 came down. It used to go down this road on its ventures to and from Wecock Farm. But of course it now goes the other way, and that's what the 37s used to do. And the 37s used to call at, there was a bus stop on the roundabout. 63s did that as well. But 37 now goes down the route the 22 does. And, well, the 63 no longer exists. It got pulled out in 2012. Got pulled out of service in 2012. Now this bit also comes under Portsmouth when it comes to landlords, because then in the 1960s it was then extended out to Wesley. I'm mentioning my other video where I celebrate 100 years of Portsmouth. And this bit now terminates at Havant Academy. But join me back in a bit as I take you around more of the route. I mean, it might sound a bit repetitive, but there is a relevance behind this bus, I promise. See you in a bit, guys. Welcome back. You've just joined me back on the 19, and we're just making our way down Cosham Retail Park. And this is something different that the 19 does when around the area of Portsmouth. Now, the relevance behind this bus was that the
19 to City Centre.
Ran around Wesley just like the old 22 used to do. That's a good way to complete that sentence. Whew, didn't think that was ever going to happen, but that was the relevance behind this bus, which is why I then went on it and made it part of this video.
Next stop, Kiln Road.
But also this bus, when it was it is a 19, when the 22s used to run sort of a different route, it did sound completely different in and around the area of Portsmouth. It just, in Wesley, it just did the same thing as what the 19 does now. But I'm hoping now that this doesn't throw me off precedence to get the other 22. Got to get back to Drayton in order to do that as well, because I've got to get a 23 up to there, and then having done all that, I can then just hop on the 22, and then I think it's another one of those, once you're on bus, you're on it. We'll soon find out whether or not I have to scan my bus pass
Copythorne Road.
when we get to Farlington, but at least I haven't needed to on here or on the other 22. But join me back in a bit as I then join what the 21 and the 2 do, and I will see you in Commercial Road. See you in a bit, guys. Welcome back, guys. You've just joined me at the back of the 23, and I'm just making my way over to get the last of the 22 buses. Now, I did say, also remembering what I said at the beginning of the video, that since there are only 2 buses that are in this contest, that I've ended up doing extra bits as well, just to try and get the video up and going. Yeah, that was exactly what I did. So I did stuff around the Warren, and I also did something on the 19th as well. And I'm just at the back of a 23, and I'm just trying to work out where exactly to get off. So I'm thinking at the moment, do I come off at Cosham and pick up the 22 from there, or do I get off at Drayton and get the bus? It might be easier to get the 22 from part of me thinks it's easier to get the 22 from Cosham, because then it's more of a longer route. But then the other part of me is saying it'd be easier to get a 22 from Drayton, because then there's a guarantee that it'll drop you off at the high street, whereas if you start at Cosham, you don't necessarily have that guarantee. But then what do I know? I might be thinking along the lines of it goes around the health centre. On the way back, it goes around the health centre and then turns off that way, goes through the interchange and then goes that way. But we'll see what happens, because I will be getting that 22. And the other thing that I have to factor in is the frequency of those buses. Now, the 22 in Havant are every 15 minutes, whereas the 22s around the Cosham area, Cosham, Drayton, they're every 70 minutes. So if you miss one, you're waiting an hour and 10 minutes for another. So of course it goes without saying that they're far less frequent than the ones in Havant. But it's been ages since I've last been on a 22, so that 22, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to riding it again. Now there used to be a 24 that went to Port Solent, and I remember getting that. And the 22 in Cosham has the exact same frequency as what the 24 used to have, but it now terminates in a different spot. But having said that, join me back in a bit and I will take you around the area of Cosham on the 22, unless I'm waiting ages, in which I'll be doing something extra in Cosham anyway. See you in a bit, guys. So welcome back, guys. You've just joined me now in Cosham, and with that having said, I'm just sort of picking up the pace, because the next bus is due in about 5 minutes, because I looked at the timetable while I was on the bus. Next bus is due in at 1 o'clock, so I've got about a couple of minutes, and if I miss this 22, the next one's not until 2:10. So you'd end up waiting an hour and 10 minutes for another one. But at least because I got off at Cosham, if I did end up missing this bus, there is quite a bit more to do there than there would have been in Drayton if I'd got off there. I'm just hoping that these traffic lights will be kind to me and let me cross before I miss any buses. I see an 8, which is not what I'm after. I'm waiting for a 22, so I've done one of the 22s. There we go, I've done one of the 22s, and I'm just about to hopefully do the other one. It's been a while since I've been around that area of Portsmouth, so hopefully all will be well and I'll be able to get this one. Only time will tell. But I don't see any buses at the bus stop at the moment, so that shows a sign. But join me back in a bit as I hopefully get to that bus stop in time. See you in a bit, guys. Welcome back, guys. You've just joined me now at the back of the Cosham 22. So we're just making our way into Farlington, and I did like the idea of doing end-to-end between Farlington and Highbury, but I can only assume that the Highbury meant, by Highbury they meant the college, and there's not really much there to see, so in this instance we're just going to go round on ourselves try and get that font if I can. Well, I'm just passing the Skoda. It's handy to know that there are plenty of car dealerships around in my area. There's one not too far from me. One actually just literally around the corner from me. But I wonder what the 22 does here. Be interesting to see. And then, yeah, oh, that's right, we'll go back up on ourselves and then we'll turn left instead of right. Now, the 19s that come down this road will turn right because they then go to Westley. But this 22, if I'm remembering correctly, then turns left as it then serves Drayton, Cosham and Highbury. Yeah, we are turning left. Yeah, so the 22 then turns left, whereas the 19 would typically turn right. And then we are back in Drayton, and then we end up going around the houses quite literally, because there are some roads that do that. The one thing I do need to point out is some of the roads that this bus goes down I find are a bit too narrow for buses. I've seen it before. I've done it before where the 24s used to do that sort of stuff, and it's just interesting how it's all come flooding back. The South Road's down there. But join me back in a bit and I will see you in Cosham. I'll see you in Cosham as I then just do a few bits and then I'm sort of thinking about making my way back home. See you in a bit, guys. Welcome back, guys. You've just joined me at the High Street in Cosham. A few things I want to do while I'm here, just while I'm thinking about it. One of them is I need to get another drink, and there are some other shops I want to try out as well, which is something I've not been able to do if I'm not on my own, as well I haven't done as of late. So this time I get to do all of that, and I'm very excited to see what the area of Cosham has to offer. I think this video might now be picked up for copyright. Yeah. This certainly comes to something. So now, as I'm said, in the High Street of Cosham, and now I'm just going to do a few bits, have a look around some extra places. I might pay a look at it might just then pay for me to look at the Junk Emporium, which is something I like doing as well. Join me back in a bit and I will take you on the bus back home. I've just noticed there's a third bus stop that's on High Street. So you've got one over there, one here, and then you've got the one where I got off. That's very interesting, but thank you. All very confusing at the same time. But join me back in a bit as I then get to getting a bus back home, and we'll then be able to wrap this mammoth of a video up. See you in a bit, guys. Welcome back, guys. You've just joined me at the back of the 20. I've just come out of the hospital. I normally wouldn't film anything in or around hospital grounds because it's out of respect. It's a respect thing. Who knows what might happen? But it's as I say, it's out of respect that I tend not to film inside or around the hospital. But we're just coming up to Chalkers Road. So it's been, as I say, we're on the back of 20 and I've decided I'm going to go back to Havant. And then we're able to then do like a bookender. I started the video in Havant because I then got the 22 to the Warren, and then I'm going to end the video as I'm on the bus making my way back into Havant. Really enjoyed it. It's been a wild and interesting video, and I can safely say that a couple of things. One, I can now make peace out of Warren Park, so I now feel right. I can now feel alright returning back to the Warren as and when I need to. It comes in handy actually. I've got a video plan where I take you down the backbone of what then leads you into Lee Park Gardens as a little sneaky shortcut that I picked up from when I was a lot younger, and I'll take you down there. And there might be some other ideas I've got planned there as well, but because the area is so small there might not be that many ideas left to cover, apart from any random travel videos that I might do, or any podcasts that I have for that matter. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.